For your how many years of being married?
You can help me.
Wow. My God, I for you too. Hey!
What you doing?
Jojo!
Wow, this is great.
Wow! I look beautiful in you. Hey!
Jojo, who's this?
Jojo, who is this? Who is this? He makes a lot of trouble. Small ones. And if I'm not there, if you come back, you pity him. If I'm not there, he makes a lot of stuff. I think, was it yesterday or day before yesterday? I had to leave the room here. I said, "Can let me go to my tailor and stay there with her for some time." But when I came back, he said, why did you have to go? This was what I said. This was why you mistakenly understood what I was saying. But this is what I was saying. And I pitied him. I sat down one day and I said, God, you said death will part us. And I was imagining this man not to be here. I said, God, so I will live in this house alone.
It's fun when I see her get hot sometimes, you know, and I will tease her and she will get hotter and hotter until she realizes that I'm making fun of her. Then she will relax and start laughing. So that is one aspect about her. And she's hardworking though. She'll be complaining and yet she'll be doing the right thing. We are so glued to each other. Glued indeed, because I hardly find it easy to stay 3-4 hours without her hearing her voice. It might interest you to know that on our wedding day we fought. Immediately after the reception in this very house. From the reception, a trouble was picked as to sitting arrangements. Of all things, you can imagine that. Sitting arrangements where the bride's mates will sit. And because of people who converged in the reception venue were so many, our maids were asked to adjust their sitting and make room for visitors who have come for the reception. And they felt they were being disgraced also. Before you know it, her relations and my own relations started clashing. But when we came back home after all these skirmishes there, over what to eat at home became a problem again. I was suffering and I said, no, I will not eat that particular type of food. And she says that I must eat that one. We are 43 years old in marriage. I first met her in 1957. That is some 67 years ago, while she was a baby girl. And I actually babysitted her. I carried her on my back when she was young. I remembered when I was 28 years old.
God, not 28.
I got
27.
I got pressured by my parents to get married. To the extent that my mother in particular was interested in bringing some girls. Then I was lecturing in Kaduna Polytechnic. I came in here one day on the weekend and found some girls here, out of which I was supposed to make a choice.
First thing I look at God's grace. Honestly, it is God's grace. Because actually I was a youth, so you know how youths behave. Like today's own, they will always tell me, my own daughters will always, not me, it's you. Bear it, but we cannot bear what you are bearing. But I want to believe it's God's grace. God's grace is there. Another thing again, patience. Honestly, I look back. There was a time I looked back and I said, why? What is it? Shouldn't I leave this place? And then coupled with that, the mother never liked me. Even though I was told when I was a baby, she would always back me. I looked at my friends who courted for 10 years. And after the marriage, they were separated. I remembered my father telling me one day, he said, Yop, because my name is Yop, he said you should be patient. Sometimes when you marry at the initial stage, it's difficult, but it will be good later. And when he discovered the thing was not good, he called me again and said, Yop, the other time I told you, I comforted you and I told you, I said, stay. But let me tell you the truth of life. That's what he told me. Let me tell you the truth of life. Sometimes you may not get it the way you want it, but you just have to live by it. And up to today, they are still up and doing, supporting me, making sure I'm here. living with him. Honestly speaking, even though we fight, up till this moment, I think I complained. Even today, I still complain. But when I look back, I will ask myself, I said, wow, if not for this man, no one can live with me. I'm also hot. He's a patient man. He's very patient. All my credentials are there with him. I went to Bukuru the other day for pension, and I was told, they say, where's my name? I didn't know where the name is. I called him. I said, hey, I've lost the name. Immediately I called him. He said, have you forgotten it's there with me? My international passport is here. Everything of mine is here. Even passports, the local passports, they are there. I will ask him. He keeps his records straight. And once you give him, keep it. Or he will say, give it back to me. He will keep it well for you tomorrow when you come to look for it. I think that's one other thing I like him with. He's very calculative. Even though we fight concerning that calculations, you buy something and he wants to know how much you have bought it. And sometimes it's like, why?
I looked at my background, family from which I come from. And with due respect to my late parents, I found out that I was growing in the midst of a troubled home. Anytime my parents come into conflict, my daddy will always tell me, you will get married one day and you experience the same thing. So when the time came for me to take the decision, I decided to say no. When I do get married, I will not want to live that type of a troubled life. We can quarrel now, and as you have come to interview us, you will not find us quarreling again. We can continue after you leave,
Take the man the way he is. Take his family the way they are. Because family too is part of your marriage. His family or her own family are part of the marriage. Without them, you cannot live. Not that they will do anything, but in this African context, they say, no, to hell with it. I remember my daughter telling me, she said, no, don't talk to me. I don't like that, and so on. But sometimes you look at the family of the man, look at your own self. You are part of them. They are part of you. So they are not different people. Love them. Do what you can do for them, no matter what. Accept the person as your own part of you. Then things will move. The man will see it and then things will move right.
As a young man, if you want to get married, you have to come close to God to seek God's approval. For Him to reveal to you the person. Because sometimes we set standards for ourselves. And in the process, we miss the target. For present day generation, you don't have to wait because people have injected fears into present day generation that what success can you boast of? When you approach a woman you want to get married to, first of all, the parents will say, what has he, and so on. That delays time because by the time you are 50, 60, 70, when you're supposed to have finished reproduction, you discover that you are still tending for children of primary school age or secondary school age. It wears one down. So if you commit everything to the Lord in prayers, God can do so many wonderful things. Within a short spell of time, you can achieve so many things if you are with Him. Because God knows our desires. He knows our needs.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe.